few days back that as testers we are obsessed with 100% pass rate for test automation. This is one of the metric which we want to chase, right? 100% pass rate for test automation. People, folks are chasing these days. And then you also mentioned that your mechanism is that how many test cases first iteration itself, in the first in itself. But isn't 100% isn't a higher pass rate in multiple cycles also an important metric for people to measure?
No, no. I'll give an example. I'll give an example of a customer, right? And this is an example which I gave in Testflix also in Bangalore, right? So this customer of mine had 48,000 API test cases. They had a 100% pass rate every release. Every release, 100% pass rate of API test automation. But the only catch was it took them 6 weeks to execute 48,000 test cases, API automation test cases, and it took 52 people to execute it. 6 weeks, 52 people. That is roughly 3,300 day of number, something like that, right? Why would you need so many people? Because their first pass percentage was only 26%. And they were doing multiple reruns after reruns to achieve the final 100%. What they were reporting and showing to the management was 100% success rate of test automation. I don't want 100% success rate of my test automation. What I want is my automation should fail only if it identifies the application defect. I want 100% success rate for my automation for no application related, for no automation related issue. That if my automation fails, it is failing and I can rely on my automation to fail because it will find a defect. Today, if you ask a majority of the testers, how many of them log a Jira defect for every automation failure? None. What I started as a practice is that every time an automation script would fail, log a Jira defect as a defect against the tester. And my team was supposed to resolve that defect in every release. That immediately got me the same project which I was talking about. I got them to 98% first pass percentage from 26%. Today, the same work is done by 3 people in 8 hours. Same 48,000 test cases, 3 people, 8 hours versus 52 people, 6 weeks. That is 52 people into 40 hours, more than 2,000 hours. 24 hours versus more than 2,000 hours. You have your comparison. The management was not paying less. They were actually overpaying by thousands for last 8 years.
That's my question. My question is that, and that will take me to that's an interesting segue into what I wanted to ask you next. Also, is that isn't it a problem of test optimization also that versus executing a few test cases, isn't that a problem as well, or it's just about the first fail rate?
See, basically, so that is definitely a problem. And I'm not a big fan of executing or using all the test cases every time, right? So I coined a term called smart regression in 2016. So I actually created a machine learning based algorithm for a few of my customers where we leverage data from production, engineering life cycle, and the customer support tickets to identify what are the heavily used area of the application and how it relates back to code check-ins. So with every code check-in, we were able to clearly identify what is the subset of test case I have to execute. So instead of doing one big bang regression, right, run, we used to execute a subset of regression, automated regression test suite every build. So within the same day, I may be executing not my full set of regression, but I'm executing a small subset of regression with every check-in, with every build being made on the pipeline. And by looks of it, we were able to reduce the time to market for that customer from 10 weeks to twice weekly. So executing all the test
Understood.
cases is not the criteria. But for that, you need to clearly know what is your test suite, how your application is being leveraged by the customer in production, and what is your engineering capability and maturity. Once you know these three things, you can define a way where you can do it much better way.